I'm going to show you guys how to build a log manifold using Schedule 10 stainless steel weld fittings. They call these weldels. If you ever Google them, you can find them at Ace Race Parts. That's where a lot of people get them. Flanges, you can buy them online everywhere. These are V-bands I'm going to use from Monkey Fab. They have quick release latches, which I really like about them. These are Schedule 40 weldels. The Schedule 10, which is a little bit thinner wall, is the straight pipe. This is going to be for T4 turbo, which is this flange here. These, again from Ace Race Parts, 2.5 inch Schedule 10. The 2.5 inch is inside diameter. This is pipe, not tubing, pipe. It's all measured by internal diameter. I'm going to have these weld to the flange. We'll have a 90 at the front, a little bit of a stub off of that. T4 flange right there. And then we'll have a 90 in the back as well. I may cut this down to a little bit less than a 90-degree angle. Most of the ones I've seen are 45s right here, but 90 is what I've got. Step one, if you buy a straight piece, this first piece I cut for the main section of it is right at 9 inches. All I did was cut it off with my cutoff wheel, and then you can see I just beveled the edge just with the flap wheel, kind of wiped out the inside, and then I'm going to scuff the outside with some Scotch-Brite and hit it with a little bit of acetone. And the first thing I'm going to weld on is going to be this 90. And that's going to help determine where my other pipes are going to go. And so actually one of the first things I'll weld on, I just got a ballpark estimate on where these are going to go. I centered it up with the flange and just traced out the circles, kind of give me a rough idea. One thing that has to be done is these have to be coped or fish mouthed to fit on the straight tube or the straight pipe, and it is outside diameter of this. It's about 2 7/8, maybe a hair under. So I will cope 2 of these out. I'll weld the 2 center ones on first. Weld them to the flange at the correct angle. They're going to be pointing just a little bit forward. That's probably exaggerated, but basically forward towards the front of the truck, being that way. This will sit here, and we'll start getting everything tacked up. Once I've got it all tacked, I like the way it's looking. Bolt the flange down and then weld everything out. Stainless steel, obviously, or most people know that it is very prone to warping. This stuff is pretty thick, so I'm going to lay down quite a few tacks. But as thick as it is, it should not warp too unbearable. This is a 3/8 thick flange. It might be better to go with like a 1/2 inch, but that's what I've got. Okay guys, I just got done fish mouthing this out. Again, it's at a little bit of an angle as it comes off the flange right here. So it's got a little bit more on this side than it does on this side. And one thing, especially with TIG welding, any material, whether it be stainless, aluminum, mild steel, fit up is key. This is all done by hand. It's not the greatest fit up in the world. Not as good as a notcher probably would be. But as far as I'm concerned, that is good as gold. Next thing I'm gonna do one more, just exactly the same. They'll be the 2 center ones. And then we will tack those on and then trace out our lines for sure, for good, where we know they're gonna be. And then hole saw these out, clean them up, and then I can go ahead and weld this to that, all tacked up. From there, we'll go ahead and put the 90s on front and back, and then weld this little stub on. I may end up cutting it down a little bit depending on where or how high the turbo is going to sit. So. Okay, so I basically got it tacked together, and then the next thing to do, pull the old turbo off. My old kit, you can see I've got plug wires everywhere. It's part of the reason I'm doing this. I keep burning up these plug wires, so I buy the cheap LT1 set and just use them up as I need them. You pull all this crap off, test fit the new manifold, and if everything fits okay, I'll pull it back off and weld it out, and then just true up all the surfaces, and it'll be time to install it. This is what I've got so far. I've got the two center ports just tacked on in a couple spots to hold them. I've got this rear 90. I did cut it in half and make it a 45 and tacked my V-band on. The front 90, tacked it on. If you look at it, the inside of the pipe is just about in the center line of the number 2 cylinder. I've got this piece that's just under 4 inches long. It's about 3 3/4, 3 7/8, something like that. And then on top of it is going to go our T4 flange, like so. This piece may be a little bit too long. I may end up cutting it down a little bit, but it is going on a truck, so typically they can sit up a little bit higher, especially with the truck accessories that I'm running. From there, I will pull everything off the truck that I've got on there now, test fit it, make sure it fits okay. If it doesn't, I'll come back and cut any tacks, readjust where I need to, maybe tack it together on the truck to make sure it's going to fit the way I like it, and go from there. Once it all looks good there, I'll bring it back to the bench. I will purge it when I weld it so I get nice clean welds on the back side. Everything should look nice and clean, even on the inside. To clean up these stainless pipes, and they look like this, I mean pre-weld, they look like this out of the box. I just hit them on my bench grinder with a wire wheel. Takes just a minute or so for each one, and it really cleans them up. Not polished by any means, but they definitely look a lot better. From there, once I get all that done, I've got one additional weld and I'm going to use it for my wastegate. On log manifolds like this, I've seen a lot of guys that will kind of put them right in here. I may end up welding my wastegate to my turbine housing or to the exhaust housing on the turbo itself. Haven't really decided yet. Now, if you look at this from the front view, that is not perfectly vertical. It does kick back a little bit. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah. It does kick back, and then the same is true of this rear one. It kicks out away from the engine block just a little bit. Now, making the crossover pipe is going to be a totally different ball game, but I'm going to do it all out of 2 1/4 this time. Last time I did it was 2 1/2. It's a little bit different setup, but I'm hoping with the 2 1/4 it helps spool just a little bit faster. I bought these flanges again from Monkey Fab Garage. They've got they're male and female, so they've got this little register on them here. They've also got a little register in the back for the exhaust tubing itself. Now this front one, this is a 2 1/2 inside diameter pipe. These are 2 1/2 V-bands on this part. I'm going to take a stock exhaust manifold, which is 2 1/4 out, and hack off the 3-bolt flange, grind it down. The cast steel, they're not actually cast iron, so they actually weld pretty decent. And I'm going to butt weld this basically right on to the driver's side manifold. I'll build a crossover, which is basically going to consist of a couple 90s and a little bit of straight pipe. I'm not decided on whether or not I'm going to put a flex pipe in it this time. I know they blow out sometimes. I'm running one now on my setup, so I haven't had bad luck with them, but I don't know that you necessarily need one either. My turbo is going to be solid mounted to the motor. My motor has solid mounts to the frame. You know, there's going to be some thermal expansion there, but not a ton. I don't know if it's really going to be that crucial. All right, boys, today is tomorrow, and I pulled the old turbo kit I originally made out of a stock manifold off. It's all laying there on the ground. And mounted up the log style manifold. Kind of see everything's just tacked together so far. Once I'm happy with everything, which it looks like it's all going to work out okay, I'm going to bolt this to just a loose head and weld it all out, which probably be a fair bit of welding. You can see the way this exits down there. I'm also going to have the exhaust running through just about that same little hole. Well, kind of this little triangle right here. That's what I've got to work with for exhaust. I'm hoping for 4-inch, but it's probably going to be 3-inch only. The crossover is going to come up between basically just under the bell housing where transmission bolts right to the back of the motor. And it'll come up and made up with that V-band you see right there. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, it's all fitting pretty well. Kind of liking the way it looks. I'm going to be able to use just stock plug wires, which will be nice for a change. And I have to burn up plug wires left and right. On this side, I originally used a C5 Corvette exhaust manifold, like the LS1 Corvettes, and welded the V-band down to the bottom of it. It just kicks back just a little bit. I will probably swap this out for the truck style, because the way I've got it right now, the crossover actually goes between the front cross member and the sump on the oil pan. There's just not the room there to do it that way with the log style manifold. So I will take this one off, swap it for just a standard truck one, and I'm going to hack off, like I said earlier, I'm going to hack off the truck flange. If I had a truck flange, I would just use it, but I've got a V-band, so I'll be using a V-band on that as well. And my crossover is going to be 2 1/4. This is a 93 Chevy pickup. It's a L33 5.3 with a Brian Tooley Racing Stage 2 cam and valve springs. It's got 799 heads that it came with. The only thing that's been done is just reground the valves, put bigger valves or better valve springs on. Other than that, it's got a turbo 400 transmission. I did have to have a drive shaft made, and then I'm running a stock rear end with a posi. Alright, boys and girls, we've got most of this welded up, like 90% of the way probably. Have not welded the V-band up because I want to put the other half on, tighten it down, and then weld it. Help try to keep it from warping. I've got the flange, which is a little bit crooked, so I'm going to cut the tacks and straighten it out, re-weld it on, and take the entire unit off the cylinder head, finish welding it up, and then I can start on mounting the turbo and doing the downpipe and exhaust. I actually bought a diesel 4-inch muffler back kit that I'm going to try to make work over the axle. It's for crew cab long bed, so hopefully I'll have a little extra pipe and I can just run straight pipes for now. Okay boys, there it is. I've got it all welded out. Turbo sitting on the manifold itself. With what I've got to work with here, I'm probably going to do 3-inch downpipe just to where I can get it through by the frame rail there, and then I will switch to 4-inch from there. I've got a 3 to 4-inch conversion, or I've got a 3 to 4-inch transition pipe, and I'm going to weld a V-band to both ends and start my 4-inch after that. But yeah, there it is. I've got the oil line just kind of mocked up. The return line I had also fits okay. I'm going to have to redo my cold side here, and I'll probably just run kind of a 180-degree piece and then connect back into that, shorten that up a little bit probably. But for the most part, I like the way it fits. I mean, compared to what it used to be, tune-ups in this bad boy are going to be a breeze, and should not have any more issues burning spark plug wires. Fingers crossed, of course. I don't know if you guys can see that okay, but you can see all the plugs just plain as day. 3-inch outlet on the turbo, and I still have to weld a bung in for my wideband sensor. But that's pretty much it. That is how to build a log manifold for a Turbo LS setup. And if you guys have any questions or comments, just post them up below and I will respond to them. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at NCHFab. I've also got Facebook. My Instagram is NCH_fab. But yeah, if you'd like to see more pictures of this, shoot me an email. I have no secrets when it comes to this thing. If you guys have questions, I will gladly tell you what's going on here. So thanks for watching, guys. Peace.